10 seconds.
Broadcasting across the state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and around the world on the Civic Media app. This is the Dom Salvia Show. And now, here's your host, Dom Salvia.
And welcome to the Dom Salvia Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. You can be a big part. 855-752-4842, 855-75-Civic. Got Just BS working hard on the board and jazzed as hell to reintroduce to you our friend Matt Rothschild, formerly of the Progressive of the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, friend of ours and a frequent Civic Media contributor. Matt, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Dom. Hi, Jess. Great to be with you guys.
It is a blast to have you. Lots to get to. We will get to it. But, you know, people are always tuning in, playing the game. It's the game. It's the break into spring Civic Media Text to Win statewide contest. So what do? You know what you do. You download the Civic Media app, find your favorite radio station, use the text button at the bottom of the screen to send in the keyword for your chance to win the contest. And today's giveaway, or opportunity to win $100 in cash. And that secret word? That word, cozy, C-O-Z-Y, cozy, C-O-Z-Y. So download the app and text the word cozy for your chance to win $100. Good luck. This goes on until 5 o'clock p.m. Central. We'll keep reminding you throughout the program. Glorious, glorious days. Man, I'm feeling so good right now. I mean, after all of this, let's just reset for a moment. I mean, after last year, I mean, such a disappointment. And then, what happens? And we look at each other, we look around, and there's the wondering, the waiting, could we do something different? And then finally we get to this year, and our expectations are so high. We know there's going to be a challenge, but we're so hung up on the losses and the drag and the history of it all. And finally, last night, victory. So needed.
So sweet.
Finally, the Brewers won 5-0 over Kansas City.
My God.
Go Brewers!
Finally.
Oh, yeah,
On the board, baby.
That's right, baby. We are no longer winless. Go Brewers. And there was an election or something, too. That's right. That was my joke for the day.
It makes funny.
I am literally shocked. Not because of the Brewers, because of the Crawford, and not because the Crawford won, but by the margins. Like 230 plus thousand votes. I mean, an ass kicking. I mean, so much so that I didn't even see anything about City of Milwaukee's late night ballot drops. I didn't hear any of that. I mean, now Mike Lindell was out there saying Crawford didn't win, but of course, Mike's a little jealous because he's not getting the limelight like the richest man in the world, who just got rebuffed as well. Matt Rothschild, I mean, I was really stunned. I mean, the race was called just over an hour after the polls closed. I mean, there was no question about who won this race.
Yeah, I was getting texts from my brothers and sisters who don't live in Wisconsin. How's it looking? And, right after the polls closed, and I said I was still worried because I'm a worrywart. And after getting our teeth kicked in last November, it was just, how much of this can we tolerate?
Yeah.
But thank God for the people of Wisconsin who turned out and voted at a huge turnout for an April election. And we are not going to be bought by Elon Musk. I mean, I think Elon Musk really hurt Brad Schimmel's chances here. And also, the Democratic Party, they know how to turn out the votes. And so the turnout was tremendous in places like Milwaukee and Madison. And then there were 10 counties that went for Trump that turned around and voted for Crawford. So
now, see, that's super interesting to me, Matt, and I didn't see reporting on this. I know you did some digging into that. What counties, what are we talking about? What do you know about the counties that went for Trump and now this time went for Crawford?
Well, Todd Albaugh's favorite county, Richland County, is where he's from. Trump won that 56-43. Crawford won it 52-48. So that was pretty dramatic. Vernon County went 53% for Trump, went 51% for Crawford. Crawford won Crawford County. How do you like that? Trump had won at 56% to 42, but Susan Crawford won her own Crawford County. She's not from there, but that's her name, 51-49. So there were other ones too. I mean, Racine and Kenosha were always close in the Trump race, with Trump getting 53% in both of those counties, but she flipped that, getting 53% in Kenosha and 51% in Racine. Sauk County, which is always a close county, also went 57% to 43% for Crawford, where it was 50 to 48 for Trump. Columbia County, 54% for Crawford. Trump won at 52-47. Winnebago County, Trump won 52% there. She got 54% of the vote. Outagamie County, Trump had 54%. She had 51%. Brown County, Trump had 53%. She had 52%.
Wow.
So all over the state,
Yeah.
she was making these impressive gains. So she ran a really good campaign. She's a really good candidate. And Elon Musk and his money just didn't fly here. And I think Ben Wickler was smart in saying this is an election about, Elon Musk versus democracy here in Wisconsin.
And it was. It didn't even matter literally that Schimmel was the candidate. It could have been, fill in the blank of Scott Walker's lackeys here, and I think it would have been the same because it became a referendum certainly on Trump administration and how this has started out in the chaos and the nonsense we've been putting up with. And of course, it's the blatant, obvious throwing around of the money. It's obscene. And I am super proud of Wisconsinites. I really am. I mean,
Me too.
I didn't know. I didn't know how this was going to come out. And I know the money thing is it's a weird thing, man. Everyone needs money. And so I get the impression based on these results, man, no, Wisconsinites don't like that. Even if you're inclined to be of the conservative nature, you don't want billionaires coming in and being so blatant and obvious about it. And that was, I think, wholeheartedly rejected in this election last night.
And I think Ben Wickler was smart in knowing that Musk is a lot less popular than Trump. So rather than just saying it's a referendum on Trump, though I wish, enough people would have come out on that and said no to Trump. They were saying, it was an easier no to Musk than to Trump. And so that's how Ben and I think soon-to-be Justice Crawford framed their debate, framed their election, and it really worked. And there's also something to be said just in the last couple races for Supreme Court. I mean, you had Protasewicz winning by about 10%. You had Karofsky winning by about 10%. The Democratic base, the progressive base in Wisconsin really turns out for these Supreme Court races. In Madison, there was a 68% turnout, and Madison went 90% for Crawford. That's a lot of votes.
That's a lot of votes.
Yeah. Actually, Madison had slightly more votes than Milwaukee for Crawford. So it was impressive.
And Madison has a tendency to do that sometimes. Even though Milwaukee is largely numerically, Madison is certainly more engaged. And I mean, if Milwaukee County and Milwaukee metro area had, those kind of turnout percentages as Madison does on a regular basis, I don't think a Republican would win a statewide election in the state ever.
And I was just looking at Madison's turnout figure. So it was 68% this time. In the Protasewicz race, it was 63%. In the Karofsky race, it was 56%.
Oh,
in
wow.
the Hagedorn-Newborn, it was 45%. So there's a direct line going up in turnout in the Supreme Court races in Madison.
Folks, you're listening to the Dom Salvia Show. Matt Rothschild joining me today. You can do so as well. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Celebrating the Brewers' first victory last night. Oh, and Judge Karofsky will be on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We do have some sound of Susan Crawford from last night. If we could, just let's get to some of that, please.
Absolutely. Shall we start just with acknowledging that she has won and Brad Schimmel has conceded?
Just moments ago, I received a phone call from Judge Brad Schimmel conceding the race.
And that was early, too.
And I want to thank him. He was very gracious, and I wish him and his family well.
Wow, Schimmel getting out there early. We have some. We'll play the Brad Schimmel speech when we get there. Right now, it's about the victors. It's taken a victory lap. Judge Crawford last night. I'll play cut number 2, please.
Growing up in Chippewa Falls, I was blessed with a loving family, Yeah, Chippewa. Yeah. It was a great community where people watched out for each other. And my experiences growing up in small town Wisconsin shaped me into the person that I am today. Someone who values hard work, common sense, honesty, and who can tell right from wrong. Someone who watches out for people. But I've got to tell you, as a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won.
And we won. Love it. Judge Crawford, from Chippewa Falls. When we talked to her, I guess it was last week, 2 weeks ago, prior to the election, I asked her, what's your favorite beer? And I gave her some of the shandies from Liney's. And she dismissed all of them. Leinenkugel's original. Oh,
there you go.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bless you, Susan. Let's get some more. Susan Crawford from last night, Wisconsin. It's not for sale. Cut number 3, please, Jess.
Today, Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy. That's right. Our fair elections and our Supreme Court. And Wisconsins stood up and said loudly that justice does not have a price. Our courts are not for sale.
Our courts are not for sale. Now, we do know, and we have more sound we'll get to in the next segment, Matt, but we do know that Elon Musk is trying to get these dealerships in the state of Wisconsin. This could very well go before the court. I wonder, is he gonna request that Justice Crawford recuse herself in the case of Elon Musk? Trying to get his direct dealerships here. We will wait and see. Folks, this is the Dom Salvia Show. That is Matt Rothschild. Got Jess P.S. working hard on the board to see you folks lining up on the phones and the text line. We will get you more sound coming up from Susan Crawford's victory speech. We also have loser candidate BS. He had some words to say as well. We're not going to play too much of that. Oh, and Wisconsin's Senator Ron Johnson, he has a theory. I'll give you a hint. He thinks Schimmel would have lost worse if it weren't for Elon Musk. Come back with us. 855-752-4842.
While you're at it, leave the nightlight on inside the birdhouse in your soul. Not to put too fine a point on it, say I'm the only bee in your bonnet. Make a little birdhouse in your soul.
back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. The Break into Spring Text to Win statewide contest this hour's keyword is the word cozy. Cozy, C-O-Z-Y. Download the Civic Media app. Find your favorite radio station. Use the text button at the bottom of the screen to send in the keyword cozy for your chance to win. Statewide contest today. It's $100. You could win $100. Good luck to you all. We'll go till 5 o'clock. Matt Rothschild joining me today until 6 o'clock. Just PS on the board. You know how we wrap the show up. You got to tell us something good. We'll talk about that in the next hour. And we can't say something good because Susan Crawford, she won something good. I'm just so happy right now. And the Brewers won last night. And the Brewers won. Brewers won in extra innings today. I mean, this is glorious. It is a glorious.
The whole show is tell us something good.
Right. You will not rain on our parade today.
Even if it's raining outside.
Not today. What do we say to the God of Death? Not
today.
We do have some more sound. I think one final cut from the victor, Judge Susan Crawford, from last night, quoting Thurgood Marshall. Let's hear cut number 4, please.
And while we celebrate tonight, I want to share some words of the great Honorable Thurgood Marshall, which I find fit the unprecedented moment we are living in. Democracy just cannot flourish amid fear. Liberty cannot bloom amid hate. Justice cannot take root amid rage. America must get to work. In the chill climate in which we live, we must go against the prevailing wind. We must dissent from the indifference. We must dissent from the apathy. We must dissent from the fear, the hatred, and the mistrust. We must dissent because America can do better, because America has no choice but to do better.
I thought that was great that she added that Thurgood Marshall quote, which I was unfamiliar with that Thurgood Marshall quote. It's a wonderful quote. I mean, America can do better. There is a chill climate out there right now, and I was glad she recognized that. I thought it was terrific.
And dissenting against the apathy and the indifference. I mean, that is part of the motivation, right? I mean, that's part of our problem. A lot of folks are apathetic and are indifferent, and either because of personal circumstances and just how life is, do not get engaged. Or willfully, is a step away from our mutual responsibilities of self-governance. Or
they're intimidated by the fear and the hate that you also talked about.
Yeah, right. There is a lot of that, and that is legitimate, and that is real out there. Judge BS, God, I hope I never have to get in front of this guy. He did his concession speech yesterday. We have a little bit of sound of that. Let's hopefully play the last BS ever.
May this be the last BS I have to put into your ear holes.
We did it. You did all the work. You put all your heart into it, and I can't thank you enough for everything you did to try to make this a success, but just didn't work. And yeah, I've called Judge Crawford and conceded. No. You got to accept the results.
Hey, there's something different.
Don't. Yeah, right. I'm not up here making any joke. This is the numbers aren't gonna turn around. They're too bad, and we're not going to pull this off. So thank you, guys, from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. God bless the state of Wisconsin. God bless America. We will rise again. We'll get up to fight another day, but this wasn't our day. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Yes. He sounded and actually looked a little like the creepy old guy in White Lotus right now. That's who he reminded me of.
I've such a terrible candidate, number one. Number two, the money coming in, and the musk and the filth and the smell and the stench and the feel of that corruption, that whole thing was just nasty. He wasn't a good candidate. But what really bothers me about guys like BS is when they come out and they lie about Milwaukee and this vote count thing. And he did it again, and we've covered it over and over again. And I don't think we can cover it enough. These Republicans need to stop with that nonsense. There is no, and you didn't hear it this time. You know what? You lost by 230,000 votes. You're not going to recount BS? What about all those late night ballot drops? Oh, I don't know if there's corruption. I don't know. Really? I didn't hear any of that because that ass kicking was so resounding. You know you can't even go there. That is what really, really bothers me about these Republicans, and I'm so happy that he lost by such a margin that he can't even lie about the perceived vote irregularities this time.
Yeah, it was a spanking on both cheeks, no doubt about it.
Was that two hands or one and then the back? I mean, how was that one done? Matt Rothschild joining me today, but let's throw it out there, man. Maybe it wasn't because of Brad Schimmel. Maybe it was because of the money. Journal Sentinel reporter. Go ahead, Matt.
No, it's just, that one guy can spend $20 million to $25 million. I mean, talk about a need for campaign finance reform here in Wisconsin. I mean, that's just obscene.
And we do have sound of the bad Bradley. Not great sound, but she's also lamenting, number one, the terrible campaign. But also talking about the money. Lots of folks talking about the money. I heard Steve Bannon talking about the $100 million and what they're not specifying is like who gave what to whom and what, and through what and for what, because they're certainly a part of it. And if Steve Bannon and the bad Bradley and people like BS are lamenting the money in the politics, well, maybe we should do something about it. I mean, a lot of folks don't like that, and if the hardcore righties don't,
who brought it upon us? The Republican Party rewrote the law in 2015 to let this happen.
And so this is victory for them. This is what they wanted, except when it goes against them, then it's, too much money in politics. Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, said in a brief interview that Schimmel might have lost to Crawford by more than the 10-point deficit had Musk not been involved. According to the newspaper, a view at odds with some Republicans and election experts who said Musk's presence could have hurt the conservative. I think he was net beneficial in this race in Wisconsin, Johnson told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Elon Musk helped. Please, hey, keep on helping if that's what help is. Come back with us, 855-752-4842.
and everything moves too slow now, breaking away in time. They have the power, we have the numbers now. It's not just a constant illusion of control. They break us like horses. How long will we drag them down? What will continue to be is what we
And welcome back to
allow.
the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842-855-75 Civic. 30 minutes left to play the Break into Spring Text to Win statewide contest. This hour's keyword, cozy. Cozy, C-O-Z-Y, cozy. Download the Civic Media app. Find your favorite radio station. Use the text button at the bottom to send the keyword cozy for your chance to win $100. $100 is your prize today. Good luck to us all. Matt Rothschild joining me today. Jess P.S. on the board as well. Before we move on to some of the callers here, Matt, I just want to finish the thought on Senator Ron Johnson. Now, Ron Johnson believes that somehow that Elon Musk, was a net positive for the BS campaign. A little bit more from the reporting that the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Democrats, following Crawford's win, touted the result as an indictment of Trump and Musk. Some Republicans and political commentators, this one included, similarly suggested the double-digit result was a hint at Musk's unpopularity. Johnson, however, brushed off these comments. He noted Schimmel received, and this is interesting, 200,000 more votes than the conservative candidate in 2023's state Supreme Court race, but said the left was far more energized. In 2023, the conservative candidate lost by 11 points. Johnson said Tuesday's results, which saw Crawford win by more than 230,000 votes than Schimmel, was a result of, quote, Trump derangement syndrome, which he said, quote, now shifted to Elon Musk derangement. Their base is ginned up, Johnson said. They're over-the-top upset that Donald Trump won, and this is the kind of way they're lashing out and responding.
Well, I think he might be onto something there at the end, though I think Musk was a net negative. I mean, Musk got out the liberal and progressive base. I think there's no doubt about that. Musk's much less popular than Trump is. And so the flip side of that, I live in a mixed political neighborhood where there were several Trump signs up, but only one Schimmel sign up, which is kind of curious to me and interesting in hindsight. That, some of the folks who just love Trump or living in Trump world, they didn't care that much about Brad Schimmel. They didn't know who Brad Schimmel was. It wasn't that important to them. It was more important to get Trump in there. So I think some of those folks stayed home. Sure, Musk's $20 million probably got some of the folks out, but it really got the people out in Madison and Milwaukee and other counties that flipped because, yes, people are disgusted with what Donald Trump is doing to this country and what Elon Musk is callously doing to all those federal employees and doing to our healthcare system and what RFK Jr. is doing to our healthcare system. So, the thing about Musk that really I think is telling, in a couple days before this election, he said in his grandiose way that the destiny of humanity was hinging on the result of the state Supreme Court race. And then what did he say yesterday? He said there is value in losing a piece for positional gain. That's a chess metaphor. And clearly he just thought Wisconsin was a pawn in his game.
Nice. Well, he did lose Wisconsin. And to your point, Matt, I think not only the actual, what the Trump administration has been doing to unwind the federal government in ways that I think are unconstitutional and not proper. That certainly has an effect on people. But I think there's a personal part to this too, when people see a guy like Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, come in and just start tossing money around Wisconsin. I mean, I've read articles and I've had personal conversations with folks that, I wasn't really going to vote, but when I saw what Musk was doing, that made me go vote. I wanted to make sure people knew what my position was, and I didn't like that. And there were no discussions about what the Trump administration overall was doing when I had my personal conversations with some of these folks. It was specifically about who does he think he is, essentially, and why is he doing that here? And if I have anything to say about it, I'm not going to let him get away with it. So
yeah, I think there is some of that good populist anger at, Richie Rich coming to the state for the first time, putting on a silly cheese head and acting like he could buy the state. I think there was a lot of that going on. And there was also what Trump and Musk are doing to our democracy, just destroying our Constitution. And this gave us the first opportunity to say no to all that and say yes to democracy. So I think there was a lot of that going on.
And I just want to, again, reiterate what Republican Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin says, that if you voted for Crawford, if you did not toe the line and vote for BS, you have Trump derangement syndrome. Not that you got a problem with the way this administration is tackling the perceived issues in the federal government. No, not that. No, you have a problem, not with the way that this administration is handling national secrets or whatever the case is. Or
due process.
Yeah. Right, due process. Right. Oh, my God. I mean, we haven't even gotten there. All of those things. No, that's not the reason, according to Senator Ron Johnson. According to Senator Ron Johnson, all those things are fine. You folks, you voters who didn't vote Republican, you have Trump derangement syndrome, which is now apparently metamorphosed into Elon Musk derangement. Over the top upset. Well, yeah, man, that's why they call them elections. And we have an opportunity to, let our voices be heard again. That's not called lashing out and responding. It's called self-governance. It's called voting, sir. But it's not just the left he's ripping on. Once again, Johnson said he was very disappointed that more Wisconsin Republicans who voted for Trump last November did not turn out. Though he added, I don't know how much more effectively we could have communicated, noting the millions of dollars in advertisements, media, and grassroots organizing. They were obviously a far more motivated base. I can't say anything other than I'm highly disappointed in it.
I
And
think
those
they
bribes
did an
didn't work either.
Excellent job of getting their message out. They were very concise. They were very clear. Their message was that Brad Schimmel, BS, was going to be a support network for Donald Trump.
Right.
That was the message. It was made loud and clear. People received it and said, no, thank you.
No, are you sure that wasn't Trump derangement syndrome?
Positive.
It must be.
And that Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, how lazy an attack response is that? I mean, anytime anyone criticizes Trump right now, you're just going to throw that old label at you like there's no merit in the criticism that's coming at you?
Because otherwise you'd have to address what's actually being criticized. You'd have to address what your folks and your team is doing that people actually take umbrage with. If you had to actually talk about it, you couldn't just say dumbass things like that and then move along. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Let's move along to some of our very patient callers. We appreciate that. Tom from Madison. Happy days, Tom. Welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Hey, what a celebration, guys. I felt like a little kid being high on America last night, For all those things we want our politicians to say and they don't say, Cory Booker said it all last night. It was absolutely amazing. And then I went to my favorite political bar, and then I went to the Crawford party, and I walked in, saw some people I knew, and I was fully expecting to be sitting there dutifully drinking a cocktail or two and waiting for those returns to come in till midnight. And the person I was talking to turned to me and said, "No, it's over. We won." What?
You missed the whole show, Tom.
I got there 10 minutes before Susan Crawford made her speech, and I'll tell you, it's one of the happiest days we've had in a long time in Wisconsin.
Yeah, for real. Thanks for sharing, Tom. Appreciate it. That's why I always make sure you get to the opening band on time, man. You never know what's going to happen. 855-752-4842.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The euphoria that you hear in Tom's voice and the euphoria that we heard at the Crawford victory, I think we're all feeling it. I'm certainly feeling it. And my friends and family members are feeling it too. It's just, it's tremendous. It reminds me of the victory that Tammy Baldwin had when she was first elected to the House. It's great to celebrate these victories. We got to celebrate these victories.
And what's the takeaway? What's the read in your opinion, Matt? I mean, was it the money? Was it the Doge and was it Trump and the tariffs? I mean, what's your takeaway from this election victory?
I think the money was a wash on both sides. Both sides raised a ton. It was disgusting how much one person, the $20 million or $25 million from one guy, more than 10 times what anyone on the Democratic side chipped in. And they shouldn't be able to chip in $1 million or $2 million for that matter. I'm against all of that. We got to change our campaign finance system. No, I think it was a referendum on Musk, a referendum on Trump. and that the progressive and Democratic base understood what was at stake here at the Wisconsin Supreme Court as far as reproductive rights, labor rights, education, other big issues, fair maps, but also, most of all, it was defiance against Trump. We hate the direction you're taking this country. It's a disgrace, and defiance against Elon Musk. You can't waltz in here and buy a state Supreme Court justice.
And I think we have to give a little credit, if that's what we're calling it, to BS, man. He was a terrible candidate. He was a terrible AG. He was a Walker shill. We all knew this. He lied about Milwaukee voting. He lied about the rape kits. He's just he's all about the money and transactional politics, and that's what he did. He supported the corporations when he was AG. He supported all the things Walker did. It was, I think you got to put at least some of it. You got to put some of it. I'm not going to say, and I would agree, certainly it's a referendum on Musk and all that, but if they had a different candidate, you know what I mean? Maybe it would have been tighter, because I think BS is really that bad of a candidate. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Trevor from Dane County, you are up. Dane County showing up last night. What do you got for us, Trevor?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm sticking up for my cousin who works for the BLM. That's the Bureau of Land Management. He built himself a beautiful career out in Idaho, and these people want to take that away from him, and that like crushes my soul,
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen to him, because you work your tail off to do something productive and help people, and then you get it ripped out from underneath you by some people that do some really unethical things. I don't want anything to do with them, So last night was a big victory for me, big victory for my family. So it was big.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Tom. I'm sorry to hear about your family members, and yeah, it's tough. And I think as we look at these cuts that are being put upon us, and again, this isn't coming from Congress who are passing laws. This is just coming willy-nilly from the richest man in the world with the backing of the oldest president we've ever had, who I think is slowly losing his mind. But what are the reasons, Matt? And I think we have to constantly remind everybody, tell them once, tell them twice, tell them again. What are the reasons that we are going through these machinations for Doge and family members losing their jobs and friends losing their jobs, or perhaps Social Security and safety net checks being delayed? Those kinds of things is because this administration is trying to carve out $4.5 trillion to give tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. That's why this is happening. Never ever forget that. And if we recognize that, we'll also recognize in the same instance that we, the people, through our elected representatives, can change all of that. Man, we can change all of that. If people showed up like this every time, and what do we got, like over 50% turnout predicted from yesterday on an off-year Wisconsin State Supreme Court election. I mean, that's pretty high. Still only 50%. You know what I mean? So if we could engage through that, and we could make these things happen, we could limit the money in politics if we get enough people to say, hey, let's limit the money in politics. We can do that. We can do that. We can change the Constitution. Hell, they changed the Constitution, put a photo ID on to go vote now. We had to put that in the Constitution. Well, it's kind of pointless in my mind, but just it goes to show you, we can change the Constitution. We, the people, can do that if we're motivated enough, if we work hard enough at it, if we get our team together, figure out what we want, how we want it, when we want it done. We can do that, man. But Matt, it takes effort and engagement to do so. I think that was proven last night.
Yeah, the engagement was terrific. There are a lot of good people working in Wisconsin on this campaign finance reform issue. And I think if the Democrats get hold of the state legislature and we still have a Democratic governor, we'll get some real campaign finance reform here.
And that's good for everybody. Everybody. Republicans, Democrats, independents. Come on, man. Let's get the money out. And then we can debate whether who's got the better ideas and the better candidates, right, Robin Voss? Come back with us, 855-752-4842. Taking a victory lap for Judge Susan Crawford. Taking your calls next.
30 seconds. Ten.
To the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75-Civic. Last segment of the day to play our Break into Spring Text to Win statewide contest. Your chance today to win $100 cash. Download the Civic Media app, find your favorite radio station. Use the text button at the bottom to send the keyword COZY, C-O-Z-Y, COZY. It's so cozy in here. It's a little warm in the studio. Cozy, cozy, cozy. We are playing this game up until 5 o'clock Central Time. Good luck to us all. Matt Rothschild joining me. Just PS is on the board. You folks are on the lines. Let's get to it. 855-752-4842. Ollie from the Northwoods. How you feeling today, Ollie?
Oh, I am feeling fabulous.
Yeah.
I got a call last night before you even announced the winner. I got a call from my buddy in Texas, and he congratulated Wisconsin.
Yes.
And he also told me about a month ago that he had donated to Susan Crawford's campaign.
Nice.
So that's fabulous.
Excellent.
But I actually have a couple of things.
Sure.
One, I would love Cory Booker was fabulous, and I would love to see another protest organized stand up with Cory protest. Would be fabulous if they could get it in D.C., but all over the nation would be awesome. And I also wanted to talk about last night when they were playing BS's thing after he lost.
Yeah.
There was I don't know if it was on his thing or exactly how it went, but it said that, well, I never really wanted this anyway.
What? Come on.
Yes. And so if somebody can look that up, because to me, when I heard that, it was in his voice, when I heard that said, I thought, oh my God, he sounds just like a kid on the school playground. If they don't win King of the Hill, well, I never really wanted to be King of the Hill anyway.
Right, Ollie. Oh, sorry to cut you short. We got some calls we want to get to. And that is a great point. Stupid game anyway. Now, I haven't heard that, so if we can track that down, we'll take a look. Have you heard anything about that, Matt?
Yeah, that was at the beginning of his speech. He said he never really wanted to do this. What was this? Sour grapes, or they made me do it, and I didn't really want to do it?
What, made a year and a half? You've been running around playing this game, collecting the money, doing the thing, and you really didn't want to do this anyway? Come on. What? Then I mean, if you're going to believe, let's say we believe what Brad Schimmel said. If he said that, and that's the interpretation, I believe you, Matt, believe you, Ollie. Let's just go with that. You didn't want it anyway, then why are you running? You know, I mean, how many people, apply for a job they don't want?
Right.
855-752-4842.
He wanted the post. I think he wanted the job, but he didn't want to do what was necessary to get the job. So he complained at the beginning of his speech about, how his wife was made a political widow for the last year and a half and stuff like that.
Come on, man. You did that. And I'm sure you and your wife had a conversation about it, right?
I hope.
Did you look her in the eyes? Maybe he just mentally conned her into it. Like his daughter's 8-year-old daughter.
Oh, you mean when he psychologically beat the daylights out of his daughter? His words.
Yeah. And his wife looked at him like he was a monster, but I was proud.
He was proud.
He was proud, man. Great family dynamic you got
I'm
there.
glad Wisconsin saw through the BS.
855-752-4842. Paul from Monona, you are next. Welcome, Paul. What do you got for us?
Hey, so what your last caller was just talking about reminded me of, and I'm dating myself, a scene from Pee Wee's Big Adventure
Yeah.
where he wipes out on his bike and he goes, I meant to do that.
Right.
Hey, thanks for being here, Dom.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. That is great. I tried that. I did that on purpose. Yes. Well done, BS. You had everybody fooled. You had everyone thinking you were qualified and really wanted. Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. In fact, 230,000 people more than supported you didn't. So long and farewell. 855-752-4842. LA Tom, you are next. Welcome. What do you got for us?
Hey, Dom. First off, we the people ultimately are the government, and we should never forget this, and we should never forget the feeling that we're feeling today because of the voting that took place that actually brought about this feeling. Also, Wisconsinites do not fall for BS. So remember that, Wisconsin, when you have Brian Stiles on the up for election, you may want to remember that you don't want to fall for that BS either. You know what, I got to really, really thank Civic Media, because honestly, if it wasn't for Civic Media, if it wasn't for Sage Weil, if it wasn't honestly for Dominic and Crute, we would never have this ability to be able to speak and to actually have a different point of view rather than the conservative radio all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes nationally, this goes internationally, the app goes everywhere. Everyone should download the app at civicmedia.us. But the thing is, I really think that you guys, this is part of your guys' dream. I think when you started this, Dom, and I think that, you know, you're seeing the fruits of your labor. And, you know, it really, really should be commended because of the fact that just think what it would be like without any Civic Media.
Oh, man. Thanks, Tom. Very kind words. Appreciate you listening and giving the love and the shout out. 855-752-4842. Todd from De Pere. Jess, please tell me you keep blood pressure cuff in the studio. Really worried about Dom sometimes. Oh, Todd, don't worry, man. I'm fine.
We do breathing exercises during the breaks.
Joe from Superior points out Douglas, Bayfield, Ashland counties are proud to be the blue line of northern Wisconsin. Thank you, northern Wisconsin. Thank you, Wisconsin. Come back with us, 855-752-4842.
Hey, Matt, we will go to that Urban Milwaukee piece when we get back.
Okay. Cool.
One minute. $15 seconds.
Broadcasting across the state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and around the world on the Civic Media app. This is the Dom Salvia Show. And now, here's your host, Dom Salvia.
And welcome to the Dom Salvia Show. Thank you so much for listening. You can be a big part, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic Just PS working the board. Matt Rothschild co-hosting today. He's formerly from the Progressive Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, a Civic Media contributor and a friend of ours. Matt, thank you for joining me, man.
It's a great day to be with you.
It is a good day. Not only did the Brewers win yesterday and today in extra innings, and so one of our texters reminded us the Bucks won last night as well. But Judge Susan Crawford will soon be Justice Susan Crawford after she laid a shellacking onto the who apparently didn't want the job anyway, and Elon Musk thought he was going to lose. It's amazing all these things that are said after the fact, Matt. But we did find a piece here, which is very entertaining, over at the urbanmilwaukee.com. Murphy's Law. Bruce Murphy, fine journalist over there, 19 winners and losers in historic elections. Beyond the names on the ballot, who else won and lost in yesterday's election? I think, Matt, you and I have to kind of bounce around on here. I'll start first, and then we'll do the back and forth. As Murphy writes, if ever there was an election with some of the biggest winners and losers were not on the ballot, this was it. At times, it seemed that the Wisconsin Supreme Court election was all about one loudmouth with a $25 million megaphone who didn't live in Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, writes Bruce Murphy. He heads the list. I'll start, Matt, then you go. Loser, Elon Musk. Wow, did he lose big.
No joke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, it might be chump change or car seat coinage to him, but it was $20 to $25 million.
Oh, don't worry, Matt.
The money is one thing, but the emotional damage of being rejected
priceless.
so hard.
Priceless.
Ooh.
Oh, you know, if Wisconsin voters screwed Elon Musk anymore, he'd owe us child support.
Oh, boom. He's here all week.
Yeah. Don't forget to tip the help. Can you hear us in the back? Elon Musk. Wow, did he lose big? Liberal George Soros, as always, quietly donated $2 million this time to the Democratic Party. Musk spent 12 times more than this on the election, in addition to offering cash rewards to quote-unquote petition signers that he clearly wanted to vote for conservative Supreme Court candidate BS. Musk wore a cheesehead hat. He probably regrets that the most. I mean, he wore a cheesehead hat, held rallies in Wisconsin, and made the election about him, and was soundly defeated. Bruce Murphy writes, Musk had talked about doing the same thing in other state elections. Democrats will love it if he does. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump, who doesn't like losers, might start separating himself a bit from Elon. And Musk's company, Tesla, which is fighting to change a state law barring manufacturers from opening dealerships, might get a chilly reception from the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Yeah, that was Bruce Murphy at Urban Milwaukee, and he continues. By the way, I do think Trump is already starting to distance himself from Elon Musk. Rumor is, at least on some of the D.C. media, that it looks like Elon's not going to be around that much longer. So a speedy departure for him, I hope. Another loser, according to Bruce Murphy, Donald Trump himself. He will blame the loss on Musk. Seems to be doing that already. But in fact, he did endorse Schimmel, Bruce Murphy writes, and the Republicans ran ads warning voters that liberal Supreme Court candidate Susan Crawford will stymie Trump's agenda. How did that work for you guys? So Bruce Murphy concludes, her victory was a loss for Trump. Very sweet.
A winner. More winners here. Women justices. Have you noticed that almost every time the liberals win in Wisconsin Supreme Court election, the winner is a woman? The two who didn't, Lisa Neubauer in 2019 and Joanne Kloppenberg in 2011, both lost by a tiny 0.5% margin. And Kloppenberg against incumbent David Prosser. The four liberal justices who held the majority in Wisconsin, including retiring Ann Walsh Bradley, were all standing behind Crawford as she gave her victory speech, and were all hugging each other. Odds are Democrats are already looking for a woman candidate to run against conservative Rebecca Bradley next year. Oh, Rebecca Bradley. We have some sound of
We do.
Oh,
we do.
God.
Okay. This is the bad Bradley, not the good retiring Bradley. This is, I believe, from BS's event last night.
Correct.
And this is, I'm going to tell you, Matt, I don't know if this is going to be a healthy work environment. I mean, I'm not saying she's going to choke somebody, but she's certainly very critical here. Justice, you know how Republicans do it, man. Justice Rebecca Bradley, man, she's leveling some legal allegations here, right?
Indeed.
Let's hear the bad Bradley.
I'm really personally and professionally disappointed that Judge Schimmel lost to Judge Crawford. I think it's going to result in terrible consequences for the state of Wisconsin and for the state of the judiciary. My four colleagues have politicized our court in a terrible manner. They make political decisions all the time. They rule 100% for the Democratic Party in every case that's presented to them. We had an opportunity to return the court to what it should be, which is deciding cases under the law. And unfortunately, we're simply going to see more politicization of the judiciary. I also think the way Judge Crawford ran her race was disgusting.
Disgusting.
She slandered a good man, Judge Schimmel. We saw this last time against Justice Kelly. It's really sickening. And I hope next time the people will see through the lies that misportray good people in these ads. It's a terrible thing.
It's just terrible. I mean, if you accuse someone of slander and they didn't slander, isn't that slander in and of itself? I don't know, Justice Bradley. Matt, what's your reaction to all of that?
Well, it's really kind of pathetic, isn't it? But, you know, both sides were throwing mud, no doubt about that. I got to, get the Windex out for our screens. They're so full of mud from both sides, all those nasty ads. But Rebecca Bradley, she was one of the most, the biggest person to politicize the court I've seen in a long time here. I mean, to talk about politicizing the court, that's what she does in every one of her decisions practically. And you talked about the atmosphere on the court, Dom. I mean, she makes it a hostile work environment even for Hagedorn, I think. So.
Right. The conservative Hagedorn. Justice Rebecca Bradley. Disgusting. She's just disgusting. I mean, and maybe, but you know what? As you mentioned, man, both sides are doing it, man. You know what I mean? So, yes, these are terrible ads, and it's not slander. I'm just saying. And regarding to the last guy, Kelly, who lost, well, you can't have two L's. Can't spell Kelly without two L's. Of course, he lost twice. Why did Schimmel lose? Let's hear the wisdom of the bad Bradley.
Sure. I'm just going to put a disclaimer on this. This audio, this was recorded at the event, and it just gets steadily louder in the background. I did what I could.
All right. Let's hear it. What we can. If it sucks, we'll turn it off.
Why do you think Schimmel lost at the end of the day?
He's Schimmel.
I think that we saw a ridiculous amount of money come in to this election, and I always defend the right of anybody to participate in speaking in elections, and of course that takes money to do it. But when you see $100 million plus being spent on one state Supreme Court race, that is telling you that the Democratic Party is buying another justice, just like they did with Justice Protasewicz. It needs to stop. Otherwise, there is no point in having a court. This is what the legislature is supposed to do, to make political decisions based on policy. That's not what a court's supposed to do, and unfortunately, we're going to see this happening for at least the next several years.
Happening for the least the next several years. Well, maybe next year, because that woman, Justice Rebecca Bradley, will be on the ballot. Now, here's an opportunity, Justice Bradley. You don't like the $100 million being spent? Why don't you team up with some of your Democratic colleagues and maybe push forth some legislation? I know you're on the court, but you have influence in your Republican circles to, I don't know, get money out of politics. There's an idea, because you know what's going to happen next time, Matt? It's going to be $150 million against, well, at least totality in the next cycle.
I mean, that segment was kind of delicious because Rebecca Bradley was one of the people who signed on to a decision in 2015 by the Wisconsin Supreme Court that let super rich people give unlimited amounts of money to nonprofit groups that don't do the electioneering, don't tell you vote for or vote against, but essentially do by just saying call such and such at this number, 608, whatever, and tell them to stop being such a scoundrel. She was the one who said that's okay.
That's totally fine.
On top of that, she said candidates can coordinate with those groups. So, she's one to talk about money in politics.
Well, she's right. And based on her rulings and based on her actions, and certainly of her party as well, this is success. This is what they wanted. And now they're lamenting, the money. Well, do something about it. We're here. The Dems are down. Independents are down. Man, people are down getting the money out. You don't like it? Do something about it. I do have one more cut from Bradley, the bad Bradley.
I mean, yeah.
Let's see. How will it be to work with Crawford? Let's just play it.
All right.
How are you feeling about working with Susan Crawford on the Wisconsin Supreme Court?
I'm not looking forward to working with her because I think she's, as they have accused us of, and it's simply not true. She is bought and paid for by the Democratic Party. I challenge her to rule one time against the Democrats. I haven't seen that yet from any of my liberal colleagues. But having said that, I will work with her like I've worked with all of my other colleagues and get the work done.
I'm just saying, don't accept the coffee from Rebecca Bradley, man.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be flowers coming from Rebecca Bradley or a homemade pie on Susan Crawford's desk from Rebecca Bradley. At least get a taster for that pie.
I mean, come on.
But come on, the justices have never ruled against Democratic interests. Never.
I mean,
Justice Bradley.
Literally this week, Attorney General Josh Kaul was rejected unanimously in his efforts to stop Elon Musk from doing these very close to illegal money giveaways. Man, they actually pulled down the video of one of the ladies accepting the $1 million check.
Yeah.
Because she said she got it for voting.
That she got paid for voting.
And they pulled that down. Oops, my bad. So, yeah, there was a case just this week that everybody, the Republicans, the conservatives, and the liberals, turned down Josh Kaul. So there you go. There's one. There's one. Folks, you're listening to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842. Got Matt Rothschild joining me today. Got Just PS on the board. A few more, perhaps winners and losers from yesterday's Supreme Court race. Folks, you are all winners. You're listening to the Dom Salvia Show. We'll wrap up a few more here, and we'll take your calls, 855-752-4842. Also, we have a little bit of sound, not all of it. Senator Cory Booker, I said we should play all of it, but just said no. I'm like, we'll do a show in like next month. But we're going to play a little bit of Cory Booker standing up. We need some performance from our Democrats. I think that was a fine job. Let's see what else we can do. Get in some good trouble, folks. 855-752-4842.
Not to put too fine a point on it. Say I'm the only bee in your bonnet. Make a little birdhouse in your soul. And while you're at it, leave the nightlight on inside the birdhouse in your soul. Not to put too fine a point on it. Say I'm the only bee in your bonnet. Make a little birdhouse in your soul.
$30, Matt. $10.
Look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti.
And welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75 We're still doing victory laps, man. I got like miles on me now. Justice Rebecca, I'm sorry. Let me say it.
Let's reset, Tom.
Reset, all right. We listened to the Justice Bad Rebecca Bradley, the Bad Bradley. But now Susan Crawford will be a justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We're kind of running down the urban Milwaukee list of winners and losers. Let me throw one in here, Matt, then you could take the next one. Winner Shirley Abramson, the late liberal lion of Wisconsin's High Court, never lost an election, was a role model for every one of the justices on the stage last night. She would be proud of what they have accomplished. Right on Bruce Murphy over at Urban Milwaukee. Who's the next loser, Matt?
Well, before I get to that, I just thought that was a really classy nod by Bruce Murphy to bring back the memory of the great Chief Justice Shirley Abramson. And speaking of classy nod, Susan Crawford herself gave a sweet and touching kind of goodbye to the good Bradley, to Ann Walsh Bradley, who was up there on the stage with the other liberal justices. Ann Walsh Bradley's been a tremendous justice. Was very good friends with Chief Justice Shirley Abramson. So that was really sweet. More losers? Scott Walker. It's always nice to see. I mean, that should be his first name anyway. It's very nice to see loser next to Scott Walker's name. According to Bruce Murphy, the former Republican governor of Wisconsin has been in his Richard Nixon mode for 6 years now, plotting his comeback. This election was his latest attempt. Walker claimed the credit for recruiting Musk to get involved in this election. Musk should send him a thank you note for that, and got coverage from the New York Times for this. Crawford should send Scooter a bouquet of roses.
Zahir, Scott Walker, also Keith Gilks. Walker was nice enough to share the credit for his master plan with a Republican consultant who worked on Walker's past campaign. According to Bruce Murphy, he thinks Gilks won't be putting his musky strategy on his resume. Yeah, bring Musk around. It'll be great.
He helps.
If you listen to Senator Ron Johnson, I mean,
it's a net positive.
Schimmel would have lost by more if it weren't for Elon Musk.
Other losers, according to Bruce Murphy. Nice to see this couple, Richard and Elizabeth Eline, Dick and Liz, the uber-conservative Elines who live in Illinois but run a Wisconsin-based company, the Uline Company, and have a summer home way up north, spent nearly $8 million, second only to Musk in Wisconsin history, to elect Schimmel. Richard has complained in the past about being advised to back losers. Well, Dick, you've done it again. You know, I'm so sick of the right talking about Soros when Musk and the Elines, you know, had 4 times to 10 times as much as what George Soros put in here.
Yeah, it is. Bruce also goes on, loser, the super wealthy. Continuing on this theme, in many ways, the Supreme Court election was a rejection of the richest 1%, both in Wisconsin and Washington, as Crawford put in her victory speech. As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world for justice in Wisconsin.
Here's another loser, which is sweet to see. School choice. Says Bruce Murphy, if there was ever a race for state superintendent of public instruction that a school choice supporter should have won, it was this one. Incumbent Jill Underly was not backed by the state teachers union nor by Governor Tony Evers, a former superintendent himself, but Underly ran a surprisingly strong campaign, probably helped by the turnout of liberals in the high court race, and defeated voucher supporter Brittany Kinzer. And that was a sweet victory, too.
And perhaps one of the issues that will come before this liberal Wisconsin Supreme Court will be these issues of vouchers, this unfunded mandate of our using our tax dollars to subsidize religious indoctrination of our children. But hell, you know, those woke folks, we got to stop them. Loser, according to Bruce Murphy, the Republican Party, wah, wah, wah. It was Brad Schimmel who pushed to nationalize the Supreme Court race, and state GOP leaders got on board that train, turning this into a referendum on Trump at a time when the president was decimating federal services and laying off middle-class workers. Bad timing.
Yeah, and, you know, they doubled down on it at the very end. That's all he was talking about at the end was Trump. He put on his, Trump, hat or whatever, and, had got a formal endorsement from Trump. Musk was here up in Green Bay and just blew up in their face.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Schimmel was like, I will be, Trump's guy on the Supreme Court. He needs a support network. I mean, it's very clear on that. And if these were, and we listened and we talked a little bit about Senator Ron Johnson, how he thought we couldn't do any more messaging. And yeah, you did the messaging. And you said over and over again, oh, this liberal gets on, they're gonna thwart the president's agenda. Well, if that's what you believe, then maybe, I'm just, throwing this out there, maybe the people don't want what that agenda is. Maybe people are rejecting that, but you'd have to believe your own nonsense if that would be the case. There's a winner of the Democratic Party. Matt, you got this one?
Well, I got a winner for fair maps. Let me go with that one first.
All right, go ahead.
Republicans are scared that the liberal majority will rule in favor of new maps for the state's 8 congressional districts, which are still badly gerrymandered. If the court does that, it will strike a blow for democracy, according to Bruce Murphy, and a blow against Republican overreach. So, fair maps are really important. And
yes.
Finally, we're getting some fair maps in the state legislature, and we may get them for congressional districts, too.
Yeah, I mean, we should, right? I mean, come on. This should be something everybody wants. Of course, the right will turn this into, well, they're gerrymandering on their side. According to the right, if you get fair maps, that's a lefty woke gerrymander. If you get, a level playing field. I'll throw this last one out there. Again, you can find this on the urbanmilwaukee.com.
And in our show notes.
And in the show notes. Winner, the Democratic Party, the state's party leader, Ben Wickler, came up with the People Against Musk campaign to counter the massive spending of Musk. Republicans doubted it would work as campaigns against wealthy backers never get any traction, but this one did. Quote, in a moment of national darkness, Wisconsin voters lit a candle. Let the lesson of Wisconsin's election ring out across the country.
Ben did a great job, and he his sound bites are terrific. His organizing strategy is terrific. We should feel lucky to have him still here in Wisconsin.
Yep. The DNC's loss is our gain. Folks, thank you for listening. We're going to move on to some other topics and your calls. We'll take your calls. And also, don't forget, tell us something good. Our last segment of the day, end the day with a smile. But we're going to get to your calls next. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Come back with us.
Chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music. The moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better. You can do anything you set your mind to, man.
1 minute. Ten.
Welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. Matt Rothschild joining me today. Just PS is on the board. Going to get to your calls and your texts right now, 855-75 Civic. Richard from Waukesha, you will be up next. Welcome, Richard. What do you got for us?
Well, I'd like to thank you and Civic Radio for all the hard work and everything. This is a big step forward.
All right, on. Thank you, man.
This gal that's talking about how she thinks this is so terrible there, I think she's got to look at love from both sides now. We got to work as a nation, country, not as just one side. So.
Well, I think, Richard...
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You're very welcome. I appreciate you listening, man. Thanks for contributing your thoughts. I think, Matt, he's got a point. You know, when there is opportunity in this divided country, we should certainly take it. And money in politics, man, I'm telling you, is one of those things.
Time is ripe, too, because there's not a person in Wisconsin who wasn't disgusted by the ads from both sides, and they were indistinguishable. I mean, you couldn't tell, if you had the volume off, you couldn't tell, is this anti-Schimmel or is this anti-Crawford? Because, it's the same message. So that was disgraceful, actually, on both sides. And the amount of money is just obscene. There's just no other way around it. And we can't have our elections just being contests between super rich billionaires. That's just no way to have a democracy function. So there are a lot of people in Wisconsin working on it. There's Wisconsin United to Amend. There's Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. There's League of Women Voters. There's Common Cause. There's a State Senator Chris Larson, who every session of the legislature introduces a great bill to reform our campaign finance law. And now's the time to move on it.
Let's do it, folks. Get a hold of your legislator, 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. Neil from Glendale, you will be next. Welcome, Neil. What do you got for us?
Well, good news. After yesterday, our home is still dry, and my heart is happy. but yesterday was a splash of cold water to the face that disheartened Democrats and supporters needed. Doing doors in Milwaukee's North Shore in the cold and the wind last weekend, I feel full redemption and relief. And I'm so happy that Jill Underly wins. At least someone with a teacher's license has that job, which should be a minimum requirement.
One would think.
License, Neil. Hey, thanks for doing that. And you got to. And for the folks like Neil that go out there and do that. And I've gotten the calls and seen the folks out there. I've talked to a lot of motivated folks out there trying to get people to vote. And it's not, it's one thing for us to talk about on the radio. Other people going out there literally in the cold, door to door,
in the rain,
in the rain, and the snow, and the spring, quote unquote, here in Wisconsin. Sprinter. It takes a lot of effort. It does, and I just want to let folks know that we appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, I want to second that. Folks in Jefferson County, led by Steve Bauer, have been doing a lot of that work door to door. Angela Lang from Block and her team does a ton of that in Milwaukee. It's just great work that everybody's been doing. Paid off.
Paid off this time. Engagement, folks. You can take a little break, take a breath, but fine. If you hear these names and listen to the shows and get involved, do what you can. Every little bit helps, and it makes you it gives you a little skin in the game. And yes, it takes effort. It takes time. Not a lot of effort, not a lot of time. You can get involved to whatever degree your schedule or your mind will allow you. But when we don't, if we don't, then we got billionaires coming in here. They will fill the gap left by those that do not participate. So very proud of the state of Wisconsin last night, man. Well done. 855-752-4842. CJ, our pal CJ, you are up next. Welcome, CJ. What do you got for us today?
Well, thanks for taking my call, Dom. And Matt, good to talk to you too, sir. You speak of money. 15% came from out of state for Schimmel. 77% came for Crawford.
Nope.
So,
all right. Now, Jess is disagreeing with your statistic there, CJ. So hang on, Jess. Tell us what the real facts are.
77% of Crawford's donations may have come from out of state, but over 2/3 of the money that she raised came from inside of the state.
So numerically, the number of donations from out of state, 77%, but the actual dollars themselves
in state.
All right, CJ, there you go.
Well, I think we could find some different facts, but here's
that's not how facts work.
See, I think he's talking alternative facts. Okay, CJ, hang on one second. And I know you're here, and I want to give you one other shot. I want your comments. I really want you to tell us what your impressions are, what your takeaway is from this shellacking BS took yesterday in the state of Wisconsin. What do you read into this election, if anything, CJ?
Well, the big winner is we now require a constitutional requirement of a photo ID because the invasion over the last 4 years.
Okay, but that's not okay. So that passed. But how do you explain that passing and also then Susan Crawford winning?
Well, Susan Crawford won. I think certainly rode the coattails of Musk because the press didn't mention George Soros and didn't mention Governor Pritzker, the amount of money that came from them.
Well, CJ, that's not true because we talked about it all the time. You bring it up every time you call. And the amount of money those folks donated wasn't to the degree of the one guy that Elon Musk has, man. Let me ask you this. Do you think any single person should be able to put $25 million into a state's Supreme Court election? Do you think that's okay?
Well, I don't like it.
Excellent. Then let's do something about it. Thanks for calling, CJ. 855-752-4842. Mark from the SAC, you're next. Welcome, Mark. What do you got for us?
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, you brought up names from the past, Keith Gilks and Scott Walker.
Yep.
Of course, Keith Gilks was illegally campaigning with Scott Walker back in 2010 when Scott Walker was county executive and running this campaign.
Oh, was that the secret router guy? The guy that put in the router in the?
No, he was his lawyer. The guy who sent a letter to Cynthia Archer about not letting the information get out on the problems at the O'Donnell Street garage that collapsed and killed Jared Kellner.
Terrible.
I mean that's still these guys, these bad pennies just never go away. For Rebecca Bradley to be out there ragging about Judge Crawford coming in. I mean, she's just a nasty person. She's been a nasty person since she was in college.
I mean, she was very Trumpian of you, Mark. Nasty woman. She did have some very nasty anti-LGBTQ comments and whatnot in the college days, Mark. That's certainly true. And if someone knows about shilling for a political party, I think Rebecca Bradley would know something about that, man. And she's up for election next year.
And she's also been particularly ugly and mean toward Hagedorn himself. When Hagedorn would side with the liberals on cases, she would just read him the Riot Act. So that's not very collegial.
You think?
No, on Keith Gilks, I just, Mark, I don't think he was ever convicted of doing something. So it was alleged that he was doing something improper. So let's just keep the record clear there.
855-752-4842, 855-75-Civic. There was a John Doe investigation opened against Walker at the time, though, right? I mean, that was...
Right, and actually that 2015 decision that Rebecca Bradley signed on to, that was giving Walker a get-out-of-jail-free card and said that coordination with those outside groups was okay, and that they could, spend as much money as possible with a little memo because Scott Walker asked or whatever they wrote in that memo.
Walker asked, right. 855-752-4842, 855-75 Cam from Appleton. You are up. Welcome, Cam. What do you got today?
I have found a great new background hobby, and no, it is weird, but it is legitimate. I'm being serious. Like, you know how people listen to audiobooks? There is a gentleman by the name of Dan Henschel that makes like 45-minute long videos, which seem to be out every day, that are just a marathon of gaslighting, and I don't know why it's so great to listen to it, because it's just, the story's fake, but it's like a good hurt. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. It's almost like too close to reality, because I hear gaslighting coming out of this administration all the
Constantly.
time.
I don't want more of that. But you do you, Cam.
Yeah, man, you do you. We love you for you. 855-752-4842. Jack from the Mac, you're next. Welcome, Jack. Well, what do you got for us?
Well, I think Schimmel pretty much defeated himself. He said, without any apologies, yep, I've been bought. I am going to do exactly what Trump and Musk tell me to do. And not only that, but I'm going to ask him for more millions. And he did, and he admitted it. And I think that was probably a fairly large deciding factor in at least the independent voters' mind.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The demeanor, and they're very specific. I mean, we heard the recordings, Matt, over and over again. I got my knee pads out for Menards, and I got to go beg for money and all those kinds of things. I mean, it was so money focused, man. It was just so much money. It was so obscene.
And he was so crass about it, too. I mean, that's who you want on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I mean, come on.
855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. We've been teasing the sound about Cory Booker. Do we have a little time to throw that in?
We do have a little bit of time. Let's do some Booker.
Cory Booker spoke for 25 hours?
Crazy, wasn't that great?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I can't stay awake for 25 hours, and he was up there like articulating and making a point and getting through notes. I mean, and engaging for 25 hours.
And some of it was off the cuff, extemporizing. He did a tremendous job, really.
Yeah, let's hear
absolutely incredible.
A little bit of flavor of that, please.
Sure,
Jess.
let's start at the beginning.
So tonight, I rise with the intention of getting in some good trouble.
Yes.
I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able. I rise tonight because I believe sincerely that our country is in crisis. In just 71 days, the President of the United States has inflicted so much harm on Americans' safety. These are not normal times in America.
No, they're not.
And they should not be treated as such. I can't allow this body to continue without doing something different, speaking out. The threats to American people and American democracy are grave and urgent, and we all must do more. We all must do more against them. But those 10 words, if it is to be, it is up to me, because I believe generations from now will look back at this moment and have a single question. Where were you? Where were you when our country was in crisis and when American people were asking for help? Help me. Help me. Did we speak up?
Did we speak up? Senator Cory Booker spoke up, and he spoke up for 25 hours. We fast forwarded, and then we have some closing remarks, but we don't have time to squeeze it into the segment. But for my value, Matt, the difference between Cory Booker's efforts and the senator from New York who signed and got along and did the continuing resolution. the leader,
Schumer.
Minority Leader Schumer. Thank you. The Minority Leader Chuck Schumer in the Senate. I mean, two totally different ways to look at the crisis that we have in this country. And
Right.
I like Cory Booker's way better.
Totally. I thought Cory Booker, did everybody a huge favor in this country who believes in our democracy and despises the direction that Trump and Musk are taking this country. Finally, we had an elected official stand up to the moment. And as he put it, it's a moral moment. It's not a left, right, Democrat, Republican. It's a moral moment. And it was a very powerful performance. Thank you, Cory Booker.
Now, we do have his closing remarks. We'll play that next because that is something good. And we have some poems. We have lots to talk about in our final segment. So join us, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. More Booker and you on the other side.
One minute. $15.
Hello tomorrow, and goodbye to yesterday. We've been waiting for this moment, and we still don't know what to say. We may never find the answers or know the reason why we both decided we should say goodbye.
And welcome back to the Dom Salvia Show, last segment of the day. If you got something to say, hit us up right now, 855-752-4842. We'll get your questions, your comments, but you got to start out by telling us something good. I got Matt Rothschild here. We got Jess P.S. on the board. Uncle Tony texting, something good from what I heard. Cory Booker broke Strom Thurmond's record for length of speech on the Senate floor.
Sure did.
To have a black man beat an old racist like Thurmond and for a much better cause was something very good. Uncle Tony, you're absolutely right. Strom Thurmond rose to what? Against the Civil Rights Act.
Right.
We want to discriminate. We don't want those kids in our pools. I mean, wow, dude, you got to be passionate to speak for 24, 25 hours. And I think Booker's motivation was much better than Thurmond's, certainly. Let's hear the concluding statement from Senator Cory Booker right now, please, Jess.
The power of the people is greater than the people in power. It is time to heed the words of the man I began this whole thing with, John Lewis. I beg folks to take his example of his early days where he made himself determined to show his love for his country at a time the country didn't love him, to love this country so much, to be such a patriot that he endured beatings savagely on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, at lunch counters, on freedom rides. He said he had to do something. He would not normalize a moment like this. He would not just go along with business as usual. He wouldn't know how to solve it. But there's one thing that he would do that I hope we all can do, that I think I did a little bit of tonight. He said for us to go out and cause some good trouble, necessary trouble, to redeem the soul of our nation. I want you to redeem the dream. Let's be bold in America, not demean and degrade Americans, not divide us against each other. Let's be bolder in America with a vision that inspires, with hope that starts with the people of the United States of America. That's how this country started. We, the people. Let's get back to the ideals that others are threatening. Let's get back to our founding documents, that those imperfect geniuses had some very special words at the end of the Declaration of Independence. It was one of the greatest in all of humanity declarations of interdependence. When our founder said we must mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
Senator Cory Booker, the first and last statements, certainly appreciate. Thank you, Jess, for playing that for us today. Matt, my understanding, we got some, as we wrap up, something good, some poetry. I know you love the poetry, man. What do we got?
I do. So this is a poem by a poet I like, Naomi Shihab Nye. She's a leading Palestinian American poet. And this is a poem I hadn't read before. I was looking for a poem about friendship because I love you two guys. And it's a beautiful poem about the stranger, welcoming the stranger, and a poem about friendship.
Red brocade. The Arabs used to say, when a stranger appears at your door, feed him for 3 days before asking who he is, where he's come from, where he's headed. That way, he'll have strength enough to answer. Or by then, you'll be such good friends, you don't care. Let's go back to that. Rice, pine nuts. Here, take the red brocade pillow. My child will serve water to your horse. No, I was not busy when you came. I was not preparing to be busy. That's the armor everyone put on to pretend they had a purpose in the world. I refuse to be claimed. Your plate is waiting. We will snip fresh mint into your tea.
Lovely, man.
Yeah,
That's great.
Shihab Nye, the red brocade. So if you like a poet, my recommendation is just go buy a book by that poet and just enjoy their whole range of emotions in art. She's terrific. I'm glad I stumbled upon that yesterday and shared it with you today.
Yeah, thank
Likewise.
you, Matt. Likewise. Love you too, man. Great sentiment. After just feed them and hang out. Next thing you know, it won't matter. You know what I'm saying? That is a great sentiment. Thank you, Matt. Don from the MKE, tell us something good, buddy.
Well, Civic Media is something good, and I got a quick comment on that election. I think people are getting sick and tired of Trump's name calling. I believe he called Susan Crawford a lunatic. There's no need for that. Anyhow, that's my comment for today.
Right on, Don. Appreciate it. Well, something good there. Civic Media is good. We appreciate that. Thank you, Don. My something good. I got a haircut today, man. Am I looking younger? No.
You look lovely.
Anything, Jess?
I promise to only lie to you about the time.
You totally lie to me all the time. I don't know if I believe the time right now. Folks, thank you so much for listening to the Dom Salvia Show. Thank you, Matt Rothschild. Sincerely, man. Love you. Thank you for everything you do. I look forward to coming to Madison and getting some of that Thai food sometime
There you go.
real soon. Just PS working the board, working hard, cutting up that sound, even stuff that I know you don't want to play, but you did it for me anyway. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And thank you to our fair audience for playing along, listening. We will be back on the radio tomorrow. Earl Ingram going to join me tomorrow. Now stick around. Keep it locked. Pete Schwab of the Nightlight is coming up next. See you on the radio tomorrow. Have a good night.